Welcome cartel members, Anons, Facebook friends, Twitter followers, random YouTube viewer. Thanks for joining me. My name is Julio. I am the Theorizing Theorist. And today we're going to go over this Gizmodo article by Lucas Ropek. Yesterday at 3:45 p.m. he posted this and it goes, the FBI's fake encrypted honeypot phones are showing up online. Now, I'm not sure if that's the actual phone and if that's the screen, but let's dive in. About a month ago, it was revealed that an encrypted phone company was actually a front for a gargantuan FBI operation called Trojan Shield. The company, which was really a law enforcement honeypot, sold a product called Anom, an encrypted chat application installed on specific hardened phones that the Bureau was secretly distributing to track and monitor organized crime groups. Criminals thought they were getting a secure, impenetrable communication platform, but in reality, their networks were owned by the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. The devices having been designed by the Bureau in collaboration with a high-level criminal informant who had previously sold such hardened encrypted devices to underworld networks. Now it's being reported by Motherboard that those phones are weirdly being resold on the secondary market, popping up on Craigslist-like forums and online retailers. Online forums devoted to Android merchandise have been abuzz, with talk about how these phones, stripped of their original powers, now seem to be circulating as cheap, used products sold to unsuspecting buyers who just want an affordable device. I bought this phone online for a ridiculously low price. Now I understand why, one second-hand buyer told Motherboard. Probably this phone was used by some drug dealer, LO, or smiley face, whatever. They added, this is a phone used with that FBI Anon application to read the message with the user. Another forum user helpfully wrote in a poorly worded public service announcement. For the most part, the phones don't seem to work anymore, and many of them have largely been wiped of their creepy features. It's also unclear who's selling these devices though one could assume they're being peddled by former users trying to evade the heat, or at least just trying to get some of their money back. Motherboard actually managed to get a hold of one of these phones, procuring it from one of the people who had bought it secondhand. Thus, the outlet has revealed some really interesting details about the device, and suffice it to say, it's pretty weird. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, follow, all that good stuff. Check the description box down below if you want to tip me out. I got my tip jars down there, my PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. Comment down below is the best thing you could do for the channel, so please comment. If you want to get a hold of me, and All American Cartel LLC at gmail.com is the way to do it. Now let's continue. Upon first glance, the phone seems normal. A user inputs a PIN to log in and is then taken to what looks like a fairly normal home screen, but the device comes equipped with what are essentially decoy apps, stuff like Netflix, Instagram, Snapchat, and Tinder, that if you click on them don't actually work. Instead, to get a functioning interface, a user has to reset the phone and type in a different PIN. Doing this resets the home screen, leaving only a clock and calculator app and the device's settings. If the calculator app is clicked on, it delivers a new login screen, prompting the user to enter an Anom ID and a password. From there, the phone's real purpose, to act as an encrypted clandestine communication channel, is ostensibly opened. The phone also apparently offers a shortcut for what appears to be a wipe feature on the phone, with an icon showing a piece of paper going through a shredder. Motherboard reports in reference to an apparent data wiping feature. So yeah, fairly cloak and dagger stuff. Anyway, if you see a cheap weird phone for sale on some obscure web forum that matches this description, probably best to steer clear. You're either being sold a useless former honeypot device or maybe stumbling into the next federal sting operation, both of which sound like bad times all around. So now here's my theory on who is selling these phones and where these phones are coming from. Now, Antifa organized and was very, very well organized by what seemed and was supposedly and rumored to be George Soros type funds, and it would make sense that they would have stuff like this to talk to each other. Okay, these phones weren't handed out, even though they'd like you to believe, to the mafia or to cartel members or to MS-13 or to the Bloods or the Crips. This was handed out to protesters of some sort. Now, one could say maybe it was handed out to MAGA, okay, or to these people that supposedly did this insurrection deal on the January 6th thing, Bobber. Now, they were using Parler supposedly, and that got taken down days before, and they weren't that organized, right? There's no evidence of them being caught with phones or none of these phones being in their hands. Now that I mention it, maybe you'll hear about it in the news, but to me, I think it's obvious that Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and all these organizations that were doing these, what do they call them, protests, for George Floyd and for other things, it seems to me that that's how they were so organized. Now, there was a video of some guy that was white that looked like George Soros' son. Not saying it was his son, but just to give you a reference of what the white gentleman looked like in this video. And he was handing out lots of dollars to these black individuals that were then taking orders from this guy, handing them the money. And the orders were pretty much, like strategic orders to attack or to do things, as they say, some people did some things, and he was ordering them to like move barricades and put them here and put them there, and to attack from this side and to push the group. And we've seen this. If you watch one of my other videos where you see what looks like an FBI agent or looks like an undercover, infiltrator who's dressed in all this garb starts waving up the people after the police opens up the gates during the January 6th deal. It was really weird to me and obvious that, and we already heard, I knew before that Antifa had infiltrated. They were supposed to be going with their MAGA hats backwards, and that's how they were supposed to identify each other during this insurrection act. Which it's really easy to do once you learn some of these sociological attacks that these people are implementing. So you understand, humans, when they're in a group like that, can be easily moved to do stupid things like that. So anyway, not to get too off topic, I think it was Antifa, and here's why. Who would have been selling these things? You think a cartel member would have sold this phone for a couple of $100? So I theorize, it wasn't MAGA, it wasn't the cartel, it wasn't the Italian mob or any other type of criminal, the Bloods or maybe the Bloods and the Crips. I don't think so. I think these phones, it's obvious after reading this article, and you please comment down below what you guys think. Maybe I have it completely wrong. Maybe this is just pure spy stuff for our agents in the field. Which in case, to me, I think one would, think that they wouldn't be selling them online for a couple of bucks. I do believe that these were phones that were handed out to people that thought they were informants and thought that they were like on the in and thought they were cool. And they're like, hey, check this phone out. You can, we want you to use this phone to do this, and then we can communicate with you if you ever, and it made these, and I'm going to call them Antifa people, feel like they were special, like they were part of something really grand and big, and they were really doing something for the cause and for a cause, made them a part of something, made them, it really activated their tribalistic, deal there, and it made them feel really more a part of the tribe than anybody else because they got these secret cool phones that they were able to communicate. And after it was all said and done, now it's time to dispose of these phones. Well, they don't want them anymore, so they just, and who knows they can get away with selling these phones like that, right? They do. Right, they know they can just sell them. No one's going to come looking for them. If they do, they're going to contact their FBI contact and be like, hey, man, oops, should have gave me more money when I asked, so I sold the phone. I needed money to feed my kids, whatever, right? So anyway, that's all I got for you. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think, and be sure to subscribe, like, share, follow, and check the description box down below to check the tip jars. I have a PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo down there. And if you want to email me, my email is anallamericancartellllc@gmail.com. And that's all. So I'm going to end this video with a typical, and as always, the routine. To God be the glory.